Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to the Dreamerspro Podcast. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these. Just been under the weather a little bit, been a little bit sick. But anyway, I'm back, and I got a lot of interesting topics that I want to get into. So first of all, if you guys are seeing this on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button. We're trying to get to 500 likes for every single upload that we put up so YouTube can promote these videos and get a lot more people to see them. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you follow us on the Dreamerspro Podcast. We're going to be in the description. We're going to post the links in the description below. We're on Spotify and iTunes. And if you're listening to this on the Dreamerspro Podcast, make sure you check out our YouTube channel, Dreamerspro, where we post a lot of hot content on sports. And also for a lot of the subscribers that we currently have on the Dreamerspro channel, we actually created another channel called Dreamerspro Short Clips, where we post a lot of videos that you guys have never seen us put up before on a range of different sports topics that we created over the time that we created this channel. We also put a lot of short clips of sound bites of these podcasts, and in case you don't get the chance to see the full thing at length. So make sure you guys subscribe to the Dreamerspro Short Clips channel. I think we can put the description and the link below this video as well. With that being said, let's get straight into it. So I'm here doing this video in Lagos, Nigeria. It's pretty sunny right now. We're all on quarantine, so everybody's home. It's pretty quiet. So I said, okay, let me just do an episode today. Now the episode is not going to be too long, but as I said, I wasn't feeling so well. So I'm going to do the best that I can, and hopefully you guys enjoy the content that we put out today. So let's just get straight into it. So today I'm going to be talking about a few things, not a lot of things, but I want to be talking about a few things. The first thing I want to focus on is this new docuseries, this new documentary by Michael Jordan coming out and the Chicago Bulls called The Last Dance. And it's basically, this documentary that basically follows the last championship Chicago Bulls. It's a 10-part series. I think it's going to be on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe ESPN has some type of collaboration with the people that created this documentary. Now, there's been a lot of buzz and hype behind this The Last Dance documentary, which I'm actually really, really interested in seeing. And ESPN and other sports outlets have been doing a fantastic job promoting it. And for someone like me, I didn't get to see Michael Jordan's, runs when he was going to when he was going to the finals and winning 6 championships. I didn't see that. I was born in 1987, so I didn't get a chance to witness a lot of that. I just wasn't old enough. I wasn't old enough. And if I think back to the, 1996, 1997, I don't remember much of the stuff that was happening then. I mean, I have a vague memory of it, but I wasn't watching basketball as I did by the time I got to high school, and I really started getting into it and, following basketball with my friends and, us arguing about it and bringing newspapers to school every day, following our different teams. And at that time, I was a huge Houston Rocket fan, believe it or not. So I didn't follow the Chicago Bulls then, so I don't know much about them. Needless to say, though, this documentary is going to take us behind the scenes and really show us, let's say millennials, what makes Michael Jordan all that people say that he is. Because we all know that Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. I can go through his career accomplishments. For example, Michael Jordan currently is 57 years old, but when he played, he was a 6-time NBA champion. All of those championships came with the Chicago Bulls in 3 three-peat efforts from 1991 to 1993 and 1996 to 1998. He's a 5-time regular season MVP, and he actually won the MVP even on his last season, I think at the age of 35 when he retired from basketball. He's a 14-time All-Star. He's a 3-time All-Star Game MVP. He's been on 10 All-First NBA teams, been on 9 All-First defensive teams. He was also Rookie of the Year. He's a 10-time scoring champion, and he led the league in steals. Just think about this, guys. He led the league in steals 3 separate times, and he also won a Defensive Player of the Year. And he's one of the top 5 in scoring ever. I mean, and he has the most popular sports shoe brand in the world. I mean, how much more can you say about Michael Jordan. All right, for a career, he averaged 30 points a game, 6.2 rebounds, and 5 assists. He has the highest scoring average in the playoffs, I think at 33, and his career average is at 30. I mean, if we look back at the late and great Kobe, who was a phenomenal scorer, he averaged 25 for his career. Now, obviously, I think he could have ended up averaging around 27 had he played the first 2 years and he not gotten injured towards the tail end of his career. But nevertheless, I mean, Michael Jordan averaged 30 points a game for his entire basketball career. So that already lets you know that MJ ain't no joke, right? And now, as we're currently doing this video, he has a total net worth in the year 2020 of $2.1 billion. Right, and I think the Jordan brand pays him about $150 million or $200 million a year with the deal that he has set up with Nike, because he has a lifetime deal with Nike, and you can just go on and on and on and on and on. Now, we know all of these things we can go out there and research this information and search for it and see it, and we can find it and say, okay, obviously, a lot of people are saying that this guy is the greatest basketball player of all time. And we can go out there and sort of search for all of this information and see, okay, well, I mean, they're kind of making a point. It's kind of hard to argue with such a resume. And it's really easy when you start comparing him to other players that you may think is the greatest of all time. And you see Michael Jordan's accomplishments, then you realize that your favorite player, like even my favorite player, Kobe Bryant, was not the greatest player of all time. And I'm a huge Kobe Bryant fan. And by the way, I think a lot of people need to start practicing practicing a little bit more honesty and less delusion. Just because you have a favorite player, it doesn't mean that just because that person is your favorite player, that all of a sudden the greatest player in the world. It doesn't have to be that way, guys. We can be objective. We don't need to just be, complete fanboys. But anyway, now you can go online and see videos of Michael Jordan playing basketball, which I have, and I've seen him play. And, as a huge Kobe fan and me watching Kobe play live for so many years, I was looking at him and like, oh my God, this is nobody I've seen as good as this. Then I'll go and look at Michael Jordan games, and Michael Jordan didn't even look human. Like, even if you watch him jump, even when he takes his jump shots, everything seems effortless. He was so athletic that it didn't even make sense. He was so much of an assassin that even when you saw him hitting game-winning shots in the finals and all, it wasn't like, he's not like someone you'll see celebrating like, most players would. It's like he wasn't even impressed with himself. He was just like, it was like standard for him, and the numbers that MJ put up were just, cartoonish, but this documentary, what I think is going to do is going to give a lot of people like me a chance to go behind the scenes and see how the world was reacting to the Chicago Bulls when they were playing. And for me, I'm very excited to go behind the scenes and see what a lot of people like my cousin and people that are a little bit older than me are saying when they say Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. And I remember talking to my cousin who's about 12 years older than me, and I was like, Sharif, man, I think Kobe Bryant is better than Michael Jordan. He looked at me, he's like, no, he's not. And I was looking at him like, have you seen Kobe play? And he's looking at me like, do you hear what you're saying? Like, and I knew at that point that I didn't have all the information. So this documentary series, The Last Dance, is something that's going to be really, really exciting for me to see, this 10-part series. I don't know how they're going to release it. If it's on Netflix, I don't know if they release it all at once. I don't know how they're going to do it. Because on Netflix, sometimes they release some shows in seasons. So I don't know how they're going to do it, but whenever it does come out, I think it's debuting April 19th, I believe it is. I'm super, super stoked to see it. So I can't wait for it to come out. And I think, again, it's going to do a lot for us millennials who didn't really, know the impact of what Michael Jordan, the impact that Michael Jordan had when he was playing, for us to go behind the scenes and see, the level of his, impact globally, not just on sports, but as an icon, a living icon. And, Michael Jordan has been dubbed so many names. Some people call him Black Jesus and all these crazy things. And I need to understand why people are saying this. So for me, I'm really, really, really excited to see that. Now, you guys keep hearing that sound. That's the wind hitting the windows. I can't control the wind, guys, so just bear with me. Now, on to the second topic that I want to talk about. I said I wasn't going to make this episode too long, and I'm not going to make it too long because I'm still a little bit under the weather, but I'm going to do my best to put out some content that hopefully you guys can enjoy. So moving on to the next topic, let's focus on the NBA season, okay? And last time we checked on the NBA season, we were towards the end of the season, we were roughly about 20 games to go, and then this global, pandemic broke out, and all of a sudden, the NBA there haven't been any basketball games in the last 30 days. So in the last month, there has been no basketball whatsoever, and a lot of sources around the league, including Adrian Wojnarowski, I hope I pronounced his name right, have had sort of an optimistic look on how the season may end up being brought back, and we may end up completing the season and crowning a champion. Now, before I go too far into it, I want you guys just to take a listen to what Woj had to say regarding the continuation of the NBA season. So just take a listen to this soundbite.
Part of a long-ranging interview, and there's Woj, our NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski. So, Woj, what is the latest that you are hearing from inside the league as far as all of the different planning that they're doing?
Well, Greeny, there certainly are any number of contingencies that they're trying to put in place based on how many days they would actually have to work with for a season, regular season, playoffs. But a great deal of it, Greeny, gets back to testing and having rapid response testing, in a bubble. And we had Jeff Passan on earlier, talking about that baseball plan of trying to return in Arizona. And, the NBA is looking at a similar idea. They've talked about a few different sites, but the conversation largely keeps coming back to Las Vegas, where the NBA does spend a lot of time. They have their summer league there. And what the NBA would have to have in my conversations with people is essentially the ability that if a player tested positive in that quarantine bubble, that they wouldn't then have to completely shut down a playoff series or isolate or quarantine a team for 2 weeks because one of their teammates or the head coach or somebody in that immediate party tested positive. Could they just take that player out, treat him, and then be able to test the others and keep going? And without that environment, without that possibility, I think a return is really difficult, because the last thing they want to do is start up the season, start up playoff series. All of a sudden the team's up 2-1, somebody tests positive, and you've got to shut the thing down. They can't have that scenario, because even in a bubble and a quarantine, it is still possible someone is going to test positive.
Right, and that's the part, I think, where Silver is saying we don't know when that will be available, so we really can't have any further idea. I know, right. I'm asking you a question that no one may know the answer to, but do they have a date by which they feel they need to be done, which is to say, are they willing to do something that could compromise the beginning of next season, or at least the scheduling of next season, if that's what it comes to?
Greeny, I've been told Labor Day weekend, that they would like to have a champion crowned by Labor Day weekend, which is obviously the first weekend in September. That takes you right to the edge of what would be the start of football season. Now, does that mean if they create a scenario where they think they could have a Game 6 or Game 7 of an NBA final on September 7th or 8th or 9th, that they wouldn't do it? No. But ideally, the date they've kind of circled is Labor Day weekend, to have this finished. And of course, that's still almost likely, or I think almost certain, if you push it that far, that you are delaying the start of next season. There's no question that this impacts not only this season, but next season in the NBA. And that's part of what they're taking into consideration when they decide on dates now. What does it mean for next year? And so those are all part of the conversations that are still ongoing now.
Now, if you listen to him, he's saying that, they want to crown a champion as soon as possible. And for me, I think it's something that us sports fans are just clamoring to see. Because remember, last time we checked, in the regular season standings, the Lakers were the number 1 seed in the Western Conference with a 49-14 record. The Clippers are 44-20. Then you had the Nuggets at 43-22. And if you go to the Eastern Conference, the Bucks were the number one record, had the number one overall record in the NBA with a 53-12 record. Then you had the Toronto Raptors at the number 2 spot with a 46-18 record. And then you have the Boston Celtics at number 3, and then it just goes on and on from there. So I think there were a lot of great potential confrontations that us as sports fans were going to most likely see had we gotten the playoffs. And I think the NBA understands that, and they know that a lot of people are clamoring to see how this season is going to resume. You've heard a plethora of different things from different NBA players like LeBron James and others. They've all given their take on it. But for me, I'm still going to remain hopeful. I think that there's a good chance that the season may resume because I just want to be optimistic. I've also been following the news here and there and listened to what President Trump has been saying. He seems to be very eager to get the economy open up again. So I'm going to lean on the side of, just being positive and say that I believe that the NBA season is going to resume, and I think we're going to have some games, and I think that in the end we're going to crown a champion. And I think for us as sports fans, we get to validate a lot of our predictions. Whatever your predictions are, I'm predicting the Clippers are going to win the championship. Some people are predicting the Bucks. Some people are predicting the Lakers. Some people may have a wild card pick. I don't know. I don't know what you guys have that you guys are picking. But for me, I really want to see this season come to a conclusion. Once again, guys, if you guys are listening to this on the Dreamerspro Podcast, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. It's called Dreamerspro. Make sure you guys check that out. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you guys check out the Dreamerspro Podcast. It's in the description below of this video. So make sure you guys check that out. And don't forget to subscribe to our other channel called Dreamerspro Short Clips. So make sure you guys check that out as well. So finally, let me just wrap it up on one topic. And this is a little bit more broader, but it's still focused around sports. And this is for sports content creators, okay, like myself and others. Currently, given the fact that there's basically no sports being played around the world, it's been a pretty peculiar time for us as content creators around sports because there's nothing happening. And I think a lot of us are having some challenges with creating content that's relevant for people. That's why a lot of times you look on some of the major networks, you see them having a lot of classic debates and all of this stuff. And I look at the comment section, there's some people out there saying, hey man, damn, like I wish the NBA was back and all of this stuff. And really what some people need to understand is that when you're trying to create sports content and nothing is happening is really, really, really hard. And for people like us, like myself and Marco and other creators who are still making content, I mean, guys, think about it. We haven't had any NBA games in the last 30 days, and we're probably not going to have NBA games for another 30 plus days. So you're looking at 2 months, 60 days of no games. And for us to continue to try to make content to keep you guys engaged is no easy feat. Now, I know that, it's not the most exciting, topics, some of them, because there are no games being played. So a lot of it is not relevant. We're just trying to, appeal to more, to let's say, your imagination. But I think us as sports creators, we need to just innovate and be more creative. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's why we're even introducing a new show that's going to debut today on Dreamerspro. It's called Money in Sports, where we talk about the relationship between sports and money and how these two things interact. And I think it's something that you guys may find beneficial. Hopefully it'll keep you guys engaged as we move forward, but also give you guys another perspective on sports as a whole. So that's what we're looking to try to accomplish at Dreamerspro here. We're still trying to innovate. We're still trying to come up with new and exciting topics that you guys will enjoy. So hopefully, as we continue to try to innovate in these tough times where we don't know what's going to happen, when there's a lot of uncertainty, in the air, hopefully some of this content will be beneficial to you guys, and we hope that you guys enjoy it. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button. Remember, guys, we're trying to get to 500 likes, and hit the subscribe button. And also check out the Dreamerspro Podcast. We're in the description below. We're on Spotify and iTunes. Make sure you guys check that out. And don't forget to subscribe to the Dreamerspro Short Clips channel. It's in our featured channel, so you can see it on the homepage of the YouTube channel. Once again, guys, I want to thank you guys for your attention and wish you guys a lot of safety, and have a great day. Peace.